Hello, hello. Good morning, FPL managers. Making sure that you can all hear me. We are live with Gameweek 3. Let's go. Set this team up. Alrighty, so my big decisions this game week are my free hit is active, and I need to very squeaky chair. That's a bit better. Alrighty. Can you folks hear me? Okay. Yeah. Hello, hello. Welcome to Game Week 3 Deadline stream. Very exciting as I have my free hit activated. Hello, my friend. All the way from South Africa. Amazing. Thank you for joining the stream. Can I call you Dodger? Dodger? How does that work? Let me know. Whereabouts in South Africa are you, my friend? Nice. All right, let's go with Dodger. Joburg, very nice. Hope everything's well down there, my friend. I love how global FPL is. Such a global community. It's amazing. Is this your first time joining the stream? I think that's the first time I've seen your name, so welcome, Dodger. Hey, Savio's back. Missed you last week, my man. How are you? Nice, Dodger. Welcome. First time in the stream. You're very, very welcome. This is actually only my third ever stream, so I'm new to FPL content for 25-26 season, but I've been playing FPL now for 16 years. So sorry, this is actually my 17th year playing FPL. So really excited to be here. Savio. Damn. I did wonder when I didn't see you on the live stream last week. Oh, nice, Dodger. You got your wild card locked in. Okay, Savio, tell me how your game week 2 went, and Dodger, tell me what your wildcard team is looking like. Thank you, Dodger. You're very kind. I'm certainly not a pro, but hopefully I'll be able to give you some advice that is at least helpful. My season hasn't got off to the best start. I wonder if you've caught any of my content. I had a pretty dreadful game week 2. Actually, let's just pull that up now. If anyone hasn't seen, this was my bench boost team, which 41 points, 10 below the average, and pros was I got the Estev and Dubravka Burnley clean sheet, which I was very happy about. And there was a few of us on the stream last week talking about being a team bench boost. But what I couldn't account for was the fact that Aït-Nouri went off after 23 minutes, and both Palmer and Jorginho Ruta were no-shows. So my bench boost, I mean, it still got me 8 points, which, to be honest, I think when I was talking about bench boosting, I said an average bench boost is anywhere from 8 to 10 points, I guess. So actually, yeah, in a lot of ways, but it was just a lot of blanks as well. And obviously, GUI had to come on for a point. So probably if you take Dorgu and GUI, yeah, it probably was 7 points all up. But either way, you know, we live and learn. It's the weakest chip. I'm not going to worry too much about it. But it's the injuries to Palmer and Jorginho. I know he seems to be back, but I'm not 100% on him. So I actually was doing some long-term planning, and I figured a free hit does allow me just to limp through to the international break and then take stock of my team, let these guys get over their injuries, and then it also gives me the option to play a wild card. I have 2 free transfers in the bank, and I did some scenario planning last night. And even with the transfers that I wanted to make this week, I didn't like my team in game week 4. They probably would have been Cunha and Semenyo. It probably would have. I was looking at doing Palmer and Jorginho Ruta for, I think, Cunha and Semenyo. And although I really like Semenyo for the long term, I didn't want to bring in any United assets for more than a game week. And I figured if I'm gonna potentially, very strongly free hit in wild card in game week 4, I figured play my free hit, save my free transfers, and then I can wildcard game week 4, game week 5, and then look to roll for a couple of game weeks, and then I can be going into kind of game week 7 when the Arsenal fixtures swing with 5 free transfers, and at that point I can then start to make some aggressive moves, just tweaking around my squad. Alrighty, what have we got? Okay, so Dodgers focusing on players with easy games going forward. Yeah, that's definitely a good strategy. Anderson for Palmer, Porras stay benched. One of double Burnley clean sheet. Okay, yeah, that's not bad at all, Savio. Considering you missed the deadline as well. Yes, Savio, I did have a horror show. Three players, no shows. It was so funny because I was feeling bullish about my bench boost. I was talking about it on my Game Week 2 deadline stream, and I like to, after the stream, I like to just detach from FPL at least for a couple of hours. And I actually had gone and watched a film with my wife, and then was going to bed, and I checked my phone and I saw that Palmer didn't even make the team, and I just knew at that point that the bench boost was going to be a complete disaster. And then again, we went out as a family on Saturday, didn't check my phone, to then come back to see that Aït-Nouri limped off. And then the icing on the cake was, Jorginho Ruta being a complete no-show as well. It honestly couldn't have gotten worse. And genuinely, I said this in one of my videos this week, 17 years playing this game, I think that was possibly the worst. Like, you get bad game weeks, but I think it was just compounded by the fact that I was playing a chip. Now, I know that there's an argument that chips this year are diluted in their importance because we're getting 3 more. Obviously, 2 more if you include assistant manager from last year. But I always knew that this bench boost was going to be a bit of a throwaway chip, but it just, yeah. So I'm really hoping that my free hit this week will be stronger. Dodger. Slim, he's back. Hey, Slim, how are you? Good to see you again, my friend. This is probably a slightly nicer time for you being in Oz, right? Oh, so Dodger, the assistant manager chip was a chip that they included last year, and they haven't included it again this year. So that was just a one. I'm not sure if you played last year, but when the game launched for last season, it was a mystery chip. And then halfway through the season, they announced it as the assistant manager chip. You essentially punted on a team for 3 game weeks. I didn't like it. I don't think most folks liked it. And yeah, they haven't they haven't continued it this year. So don't worry about the assistant manager chip. So what they did instead was they took away the assistant manager chip, but they've just given us all an extra bench boost, triple captain, and free hit for the first half of the season, which I think is much better. And I think that it gives the balance of giving you 4 chips the first half of the season, 4 chips the second half of the season, and the managers can just play them as they were. The assistant manager chip, there was so much variance because you were essentially backing a team rather than player or players of a team. So it caused a lot of swings. I personally wasn't a fan. But let me know, guys who played last year, did you like the assistant manager chip? Dodger, you're focusing on Chelsea, Tottenham, and Everton, captain Richarlison. Wow, that's brave, captain and Richarlison. I like that though. Bournemouth at home. Chelsea, yeah, they've got a really nice run. Spurs are looking good and have a nice run as well. Who are you getting from Everton? I hope you're getting Grealish because he looks like a lot of fun this season. Nice. Remind me, Slim, whereabouts in Oz are you from, my friend? I lived in Sydney for 6 years. Oh, okay, you gave up. Yeah. So the assistant manager chip was only from the second half of the season last year. Dodger, we're going to make sure you don't give up this year, my friend. Okay, we're going to get you through all the way to the end of the season. Hey, Hugo Silva. So yeah, some people certainly loved it. Let me guess, Hugo, did you by any chance put your assistant manager on either Glasner or Hertzler? Because I know for a fact that people who did that loved the chip. I went a bit more conservative. I think I did Moyes for the double, which was nice because they drew with Liverpool, and then I did Emery, and that was crap. Savio's not a fan. Yeah, nice, Dodger. You got Grealish. Big fan of that. I think Grealish could be a real punt this year. I like that a lot. And is he 6.5? I think that's a really nice price point for a really good player. Oh, Radelaide. Nice. Love Adelaide. I spent a couple of weeks there. And I have a good friend who from Australia who's from Radelaide. He was from McLaren Vale. And we did some wine tours around there in the Barossa Valley, Kangaroo Island and stuff. So yeah. Nice, Slim. Well, thanks for joining down in Adelaide. What's the state Adelaide's in again? Completely lost my mind. Slipped my mind. Victoria into blank. South Australia. That makes sense. Thanks, my friend. Top Bin Edits, great name. Ndoye or Bruno or Hudson-Odoi or Cunha. Sorry, Top Bin Edits, can you just give me a bit more context on your question? Are these transfers or who to start? And do you want one or a combination of? Okay, so one of them for Parma. Yeah, I think you're definitely in the right ballpark with either United or Forest. If I was doing a transfer this week for Parma, I would be looking at United or Forest. As you can see from my free hit team here, I'm backing Cunha over Fernandez. I could make Fernandez work or Bruno, but what I like about Cunha is that I think he'll start. Personally, in my original free hit team had triple United, which I have moved away from, as you can see. I like Cunha because I think he will start as number 9. I think Šeško got a lot of flack from the Grimsby game. Firstly, for his performance, he played the full 90 for the first time in a while. He missed a sitter at the end, and then he obviously took his penalty after even Onana. So I would expect Šeško to be on the bench, and I would expect Cunha to play at number 9. If you remove the Grimsby game, Cunha for me looked like the best player in that United team to make something happen. I know Bruno missed that penalty, and considering Cunha and Mbeumo missed their penalties in the shootout versus Grimsby, I would expect Bruno to be on penalties for United. However, I think the Cunha Fernandes punt will come down to how you like to play FPL. If you want to go a bit more, if you want to go higher ceiling, I would go Cunha. And if you think that you want to back someone who's on penalties and set pieces, I'd go Fernandes. But for me, I'm going to roll the dice a bit with Cunha this week. Although I expect Cunha to be fairly decently owned. Yeah, 13.8%. And that's, I'd say a lot of people have transferred him in this week. And that's not including free hits. However, I do really like the Forest fixture. I think West Ham are looking really poor, and they're another team that are in not a great spot. The United game is just, there's so many unknowns. I think it's going to be one of two things. I think United are either going to come out and look to play for the manager and absolutely try to batter Burnley, or Burnley are going to play really well, frustrate United, and maybe nick a goal and be 1-0 up, and then the players could potentially panic, or they might be looking to try and leverage Amorim out of the club. It's just, it could go either way. I think Burnley have actually been really good over the first couple of game weeks. Not only have they been quite solid defensively, I know they lost their first game 3-0 against Spurs, but that actually flattered Spurs. But Burnley have actually been very good offensively as well, putting up decent numbers, creating a lot of chances, and obviously they won comfortably last week against Sunderland. So that's why I don't want a United defender, because I think that Burnley will score. So top bin edits, if you think that United aren't going to do well, I think you could do well to do either Ndoye or Hudson-Odoi. Now, Ndoye or Hudson-Odoi, for me, is a coin toss. Their data is looking very similar. They both seem to be the starting wingers. I think they'll both start for Forest. I think Hudson-Odoi's, if you are going up by data and the eye test, I'd say Hudson-Odoi probably just scrapes it for me. I don't even actually know what their difference in price is. So Hudson-Odoi, yeah, they're both 6 mil. So again, you're circling around 4 very good options there. I think you need to make your decision. First, go which fixture you want to back. Personally, I would, if I had to pick one, I would actually back Forest at home to United. Forest at home to West Ham over United at home to Burnley. And then between the two of Hudson-Odoi and Ndoye, 2 very similar players who I both think could return this week. I hope that helps, my friend. What are your thoughts on Ndoye Forest? Okay, Savio, I've kind of answered that. Palmer Gate and Ndoye Mateta. Savio and Mateta. I like that. I seem to remember in game week 1, you were trying to convince me to do João Pedro over Mateta, which, by the way, was 100% the right call. So fair play to you. So you're now getting Mateta in. Fair enough. Savio, do you have João Pedro, and it doesn't look like you have Wood? I just think Wood could do. He's gone up again, but I think Wood could do really well against West Ham. But Mateta's got a nice run. And I answered the Ndoye question earlier for top bin edits, but yeah, I think Ndoye Mateta is nice. Sarwood. I like Sarwood as well, to be honest. Thanks, Slim. Thanks for popping in, my friend. I'll see you in the next deadline stream. Dodger, what are good differentials? Can you give me any positions and price points you're looking at? Yeah, I thought you used him on Glasner, Hugo. That's where most people did well in the assistant manager last year. Glasner did really well for assistant manager. Assistant managers last year. Savio, I'm actually thinking that so as it stands with this team, I would actually play a 4-3-3. I think I really like, now with this free hit, for me, there aren't many really strong, obvious midfield options. If I was feeling bullish about, say, Man United, I would do Fernandez and Cunha, and I would do a 3-4. I'd do a 3-4-3. So it would probably be Sanchez or Sells, Kukurea, Milenkovic, and Porro. And I would make a decision whether I wanted to do double Chelsea or double Forest defense. My midfield would then be Cunha, Fernandez, probably Kudus and Alanga, and then the three. So it does kind of pick itself. I do like Dango and I do like Barnes, but I think having two Newcastle mids is a bit of overkill. And I think that Alanga just offers a bit more threat. I think he's just a slightly higher quality to Barnes. I'm not really basing that on anything. But he's Alanga, new club, wants to impress and is guaranteed the minutes, whereas Barnes, Barnes has started the 2 games. Expected goal involvement 0.9. What's Alanga saying? That's interesting. 0.7. So Harvey Barnes has actually had a better expected goal involvement. That's food for thought. Top bin edits. Ndoye. Nice. I like that punt. I think Ndoye's a really nice pick. Top bin edits. I hope he returns for you, my friends. Have JP and Larson. Idea is to save cash for 3 Arsenal and 7-8. Yeah, I'm going to move to 3 Arsenal and 7. Arsenal's fixture swing is just so nice around then. Not sure if you're here at the start, Sevio, but that's my plan. I'll free hit 3, wildcard 4, and then I'll look to attack that bank of 4 fixture game week 4, 5, and 6 with mainly City and Liverpool. And then the switch for 7 is triple Arsenal or double Arsenal at the very least. And then I think Chelsea have a nice run as well. So I'll probably move off United and Liverpool. But again, if the big kicker for me is the Isak thing. And this is why, again, I could have very easily wildcarded this week, but before an international break, before the transfer window shuts. So I'm getting a very dry throat from all this talking. If Isak doesn't move to Liverpool, then I'm going to move very quickly. I'm going to wildcard for Ekitike and Gakpo or Wirtz, because I think that those 2 can negate owning Salah, because then suddenly if you don't own Salah and you can get Ekitike as your striker and Gakpo as your midfielder, and you can then have Haaland, and then you can just play around in different positions as well. So that's my mid to long-term strategy. Okay, you're looking for a differential around 6.5. Dodger, were you the one that said you're already getting Grealish? Yeah, because that's where I would have gone, man. A differential at 6.5 for me would be Jack Grealish. I think he's so good. And Ndoye is 3.9% owned. So Forest and Ndoye is nice. Tavernier looked really good. I got him in, I played draft with some guys from work and I got him in. He looked great against Wolves. Not a great run the next few, but I think Tavernier is great. Dango as well. Yeah, 1.7 for Hudson-Odoi. Okay, so Dodger, if you're looking for someone as well as Grealish, I would consider one of the Forest wingers, so Ndoye and Hudson Odoi. They're both under the radar. And Dango from, so Undoy, Hudson Odoi, and Dango Otara from Brentford. Sunderland away. Chelsea Fulham, not a great run, but he's well under the radar, and they're only 6 mil as well, so you're saving yourself 0.5 there. Nice, a lot of Ndoye buyers this week. I think that'd be really good. So who have we got? Top Bins, Savio, and maybe Dodger. Guys, I'll be keeping my fingers well. I'll have everything crossed for all of you. Because if I recommend Ndoye and then he blanks, you guys won't be coming back. But anyway, good luck with the Ndoye punt. I really like it. I think Forest could do really well. And you never know, lads. I might join you here. I could bring Ndoye into my midfield and do triple Forest that way, so I could get rid of Barnes. But then I wouldn't be able to do. I need to have a think about, because just to give you guys some context into the way I like to approach a free hit, is what I love about a free hit chip is you are looking at a single game week in isolation, so you don't have to worry about long term. You just have to look at that game week on its own. Now, most teams, particularly at this stage, unless it's Arsenal with a great run, usually don't have defensive double ups. Maybe the odd person out there has, like Sanchez and Cucurella. So what I like about the free hit, and this worked well for me last season, I think I did double Newcastle defense and double another defense, is that basically, if you look at those fixtures in isolation, if I was bringing in a goalkeeper and 3 defenders, so I'm playing a 3-4-3. If I bring in if I have Sanchez, Milenkovic, Pedro Porro, and another defender from a different team, I'm basically looking to get 4 clean sheets. Whereas if I know that I want to play 4 defenders, and I think that West Ham are looking really poor, and outside of an absolute wonder goal from Paqueta, and I know there was a very tight offside call for Füllkrug, West Ham probably don't really look like scoring, and I want to back Chelsea to keep a clean sheet at home to Fulham. So if I can basically have double up in both of those defenses, I'm putting all my eggs into those defensive baskets. It's high risk, but it's high reward. So if those 2 clean sheets come off, that's a return across all 4 of my defenders. And I'm only needing to gamble on, I'm only punting on 2 results as opposed to 4 or even 3. Now, what I might do, and that's where I'm kind of tempted to play, because I think that Porro is probably the best Spurs asset. And in a lot of ways, because he's so attacking and because he can get defensive contributions, I'm almost not even really considering Porro as a defender here. I'd almost consider him as a midfielder that could also get me a clean sheet. So if you look at this bank of 4, that's why I'm quite tempted to double up here with these 4. Porro is essentially then a midfielder, and then I've got 2, Spurs attackers in Porro and Kudus. Cunha's my United cover against, a newly promoted team who, albeit do look very good, but he's playing as number 9 as a midfielder for Manchester United, albeit not in great form. I could do it in Elanga or Barnes or Otara, and then I think my front 3 and my captain pick themselves. So, going a bit off topic there, I could bring in a Forest midfielder, but that would then move me away from doing a double up on Forest defence. And I also would as a non-negotiable. I'm keeping Wood for sure. So yeah, that's just if anyone's wondering why I'm setting up this way. And pretty much all the free hit teams I've seen have been 3-4-3. So again, just looking to try and be slightly different, playing a 4-3-3 would give me that. Hey, Darwet, how are you, my friend? Yes, I 100% can send you that playbooks. I saw your comment. I just didn't have time to get around to it before the live stream. Let me fire up another tab here and see if I can get you my. What I basically need to do is I host my ebooks and playbooks and stuff in a separate. Sorry, I'm just rambling here. Give me 2 seconds. Separate system. I need to just get you my. Darwit, if you just click on that link, my friend, and then just pop your email address in there, and anyone else that wants to, that'll get you added to my my CRM, my mailing list, basically. So I can send you my preseason playbook, which might not be relevant to for other folks anymore. But I'm also doing a deadline stream, or sorry, a deadline day checklist. It just helps me. I've just mapped out basically the steps that I like to take to go through my decision making process. So, folks, if anyone wants any of those, just pop your name in there. Sorry, pop your email address in there, and I'll send it on to you just after the show. No worries, Darwit. Just now, introduce a force me to more cartoon this early. Darwit, let me know if you need any help with that free hit team. I'll give you some advice now. Hopefully, Captain gives White and Doyle Watkins. Top bin edits. That is. Okay, so I would personally rule out Watkins. I'm not picking Watkins in my free hit team. I have him in my regular team. Villa and Watkins have looked really poor so far. And it's just so contrary to what we saw in preseason. Watkins was on fire in preseason. He was talking about how this was his first preseason that he'd not had an international tournament. He has no like competition from another striker. He was feeling really good and banging in goals. I thought the Watkins with this run of fixtures for Villa was just such a lock in my team. Crystal Palace are undefeated now in like 11 games, and they're actually better away from home. They're better away from Selhurst Park. Now, I know they played on Thursday night away, but for me, Glasner will just shut up shop and play a really tight game and look to catch Villa on the break. I'm not saying that I don't think Villa will score and that Watkins could be a part of that, but for a couple of reasons, I would be avoiding Watkins. Now, to stick your captain armband on Gibbs White or Ndoye, that would be ballsy. I like that. And if you're looking for a differential, I think they could both go really big. For me, again, think about how you want to play FPL here. Gibbs White is going to be on more set pieces, free kicks and corners, and will generally just be a bit more involved in overall play. So I think that Gibbs White would be a higher floor pick. I think he's more likely to get 4 to 6 points, maybe a bit. He might get a goal. And Doy would be the higher ceiling pick. If Forest come out all guns blazing and get in behind a very poor West Ham side, which is another reason why I quite like Milenkovic and Maria, because West Ham just looked so bad at set pieces against Chelsea. Their new goalkeeper is just flapping at everything. And Doy could get a goal. So, and Doy's the higher ceiling pick. So again, risk reward. Gibbs White is probably more guaranteed to get you like a decent score, and Doy could get you a double-digit return, which would then massively catapult you. So if you're wanting to go down a bit more of the differential route, which it sounds like you are, go Ndoye. Like I think this is going to be the Ndoye stream. Last week was the bench boost stream. Now it's the Ndoye stream. Okay, Savio. Barnes is better for XGI, but Elanga seems the eye type, but I'd go 4 mids though. Yeah, fair enough. Haaland, Ekatike, and Gyökeres is from Free Tasty. Yeah, that would be nice, man. If you could afford, if you could afford that. I might not have Gyökeres in the medium term, but maybe longer term when Arsenal's fixtures swing in 7, that would be really nice. Really, really nice. And then also you need to factor in later on in the season for AFCON, Salah's going to be going. So Ekatike and Gakpo, maybe Wirtz will be essential at that point. So price rises will be through the roof. No worries, Dodger. I hope that was helpful, my friend. What about Morgan's White as a Nottingham Forest differential? Hey, Rohan. Yeah, I like Gibbs White. I think I just answered that with my previous response to Top and Edits when he was asking about captains. I like Morgan Gibbs White. I think he's the only thing, 7.5. So the only thing with Gibbs White is that's actually a lovely run for Forest, Burnley, and Sunderland after Arsenal. The only thing with Gibbs White is I think Wood's on penalties, isn't he? So for an extra, and Ndoye and Hudson-Odoi, to be honest with you, similar to my previous point, if you're taking a bit of a punt or a differential, save yourself 1.5 mil and go Ndoye or Hudson-Odoi. And if you can, try and use that 1.5 mil elsewhere. I think Gibbs White is a really good pick, but I don't think he's 1.5 million. I don't think he's 1.5 million better than Ndoye or Hudson-Odoi would be my assessment. And he just said someone said Nketiah is apparently ahead of time recovery. Mateta might be a short-term punt. Anyway, the plan is to move him to Cockroach and send him so good for me. Nice. Cool. Thanks for that insight. Yeah, and folks, please keep your eye on maybe other streams or X, Twitter. If there are any leaks, that would be very helpful. Hey, Eddie. Good to have you back, my friend. How are you? I did not do well last week. Let me show you. I had a bit of a nightmare. My bench boost only got me 41 points. Now, I'm going to remind myself and everyone at home that my reason for the bench boost was to get the Burnley double clean sheet, which I got. Estev and Dubravka got me 12 points. What I didn't or wouldn't have accounted for was the terrible luck of Aït-Nouri going off injured after 23 minutes and then Palmer and Jorginho being complete no-shows. So, yeah, my bench boost probably got me 7-8 points, which, is like having a full bench you blanked. So, to be honest, Dubravka's 6 points absolutely saved me. If Burnley would have conceded a goal, I would have been like, rage quitting the game. But anyway, bench boost didn't go to plan, but I'm just focusing on my decision-making process, which was sound. So onwards and upwards. And here we are with a free hit because of my injuries. You finished on 63. That's nice, my friend. Well done, Eddie. Transfer this week was Brennan Johnson in for my injured Saka. Then 2 days later says that. Yeah, I don't think Xavi Simons will play. So Brennan Johnson will be fine for the short term. I think Xavi Simons is a bit more of a central player. So think of Xavi Simons as a Maddison replacement. I still think you'll have Kudos and Johnson because Kulusevski's out as well. So I think Simons will be their kind of central attacking player in the number 10 role. And then I would say Thomas Frank will keep rotating Richarlison and Solanke as the number 9s, and then Johnson and Kudus will be the wide players. So don't worry too much about the Johnson transfer. I think that's a good pick. Should I be worried? My team this week is Sells, no, good pick. Dorgu, good pick. Aït-Nouri, good pick. Porro, great pick. So that's a really good defense. Semenyo, great player. Not a great fixture, but a really good player. Reinder, again, he'll do well. Sarr, away at Villa. And then Johnson, João Pedro captain, Watkins, Ekatike. Eddie, I think that's a great team, man. Yeah. Really solid team. That could do really well this week. Eddie, who's your bench? But I think that's a really, really solid team. You should not be worried with that. Shirky is out. Reinders is 10. This is where I rip up my free hit team. Shirky's out. Okay, interesting. Alrighty. Gameweek 1 ranked with no chips. I'm realizing it's not so, but took a triple injury to wake me up and that's a good Darwin. No worries, my friend. You 78 points is a very good start. Hey Vishesh, how are you, my friend? Yeah, I know he killed me. Yeah, Darwin, I'm with you. Gameweek 2 was awful. Onwards and upwards. No, Vishesh, I like João Pedro captain. I think he could do well against Fulham. He'll probably be playing in that number 10 role. He might start as striker, but if Liam Delap starts, he might be playing in that number 10 role. So, you know, he can play that. He'll be on penalties and he'll probably be on most set pieces. So I think João Pedro is a great captain shout this week. Who is likely to be the environment racer for Frank and Spurs? So Savio, Thomas Frank actually apparently has tried to sign Brennan Johnson a couple of times, and he spoke a lot about how he's a big fan of him. So I think that Brennan Johnson will be the Mbeumo-esque cutting in from the right, and not sure about the Visser piece though. It looks like he quite likes Richarlison at the moment, and Richarlison's doing really well. I think Solanke will probably be the number 9 long term, but again, Spurs need a deep squad with the Champions League, so I think Brennan Johnson, and yeah, with Eddie bringing him in, I think that was a good shout. Should I upgrade Gui to Pedro Mateta Wood as my 7th attacker, or upgrade my defence? Have Ronaldo instead? Have one transfer left, or should I roll? Ronaldo has... You could play Ronaldo this week. Ronaldo. You could play Ronaldo this week with Brentford at home. That's really not a bad fixture at all. So Rohan, I would personally punt on the upside. So if I was looking to upgrade, I would look to upgrade a 7th attacker. If you can get Gayu from Sunderland to one of João Pedro or Wood, I would definitely do that. And then play Ronaldo. Bench is so reload of Ravka, Keane, Konza, and Ninja Palmer. Konza will be back though, Eddie. And Everton have quite a nice fixture as well, don't they? Do they? Who are Everton's fixtures? Yeah, Wolves away. Eddie, I think that bench is really good, man. Eddie, you need to have more confidence in your team, my friend. That's a really good team. I think you could easily play Keane or Konza. I'd probably start Konza because they're home to Crystal Palace. But yeah, that's a really good team. What did you say your team was? Cells, Doggy, Onori, Paro. Yeah, nice. Really good team. Should I captain Haaland or João Pedro or Ekitike? Couldn't you? Well, Vishesh, you've got a lot of good options there. Personally, I would be going Haaland this week, but so I would remove Ekitike. He could score against Arsenal, but Arsenal are looking very good at the moment. So decision-making process would be Haaland, João Pedro, or Cunha. If it was me, I'd rank them Haaland, João Pedro, Cunha. without Haaland or Salah, fingers crossed. Yeah. Nice, Eddie. Good luck with that, my friend. Fishesh, all good. You're welcome. Yeah, no worries, Savio. I need to do mine. Bruno captain was playing pre-season and I'm not watching that game. Why couldn't you have a Bruno for the free hit? Would you sacrifice if you had to switch that up now? I think I explained a bit earlier about my thoughts on Man United. I think if you remove the... So, Bruno would be... I think Bruno's still on pens. So, Bruno's going to be your pick if you want your penalty taker. Cunha, for me, starts as number 9. He's looked the most likely to score. I think he's hit the post a couple of times. He looked really good against Arsenal and was unlucky not to get a goal. So just based on the eye test and a bit of data previously, I think Cunha has really impressed me. And it's also a slight differential move. So he's got 0.9 expected goal involvement. Whereas Bruno's is going to be through the roof because he obviously missed that penalty. Yeah, I could do Bruno. 9 now. And I could just downgrade one of these guys to bench fodder. I could make this guy Josh King. Yeah, so I could do it and just do a 3-4-3. Can you see Bruno for pick your display? Yeah, exactly. I cannot call this United fixture, honestly. To the point where I was like, do I even free hit this game week? But we knew United were going to be, well, we didn't think United were going to be, like title contenders necessarily, but they would certainly have played a bigger role in my team. Okay, so I do like the idea of sticking with. This is really tough because I think Pedro Porro could do really well, but for me, there's not as many obvious midfield options. It's basically a bit of a coin toss for me. It's basically a coin toss for me, Elanga or Dango. The thing is, I could so easily do double United. Yeah, and I think it's a bit of a differential for me. It's worked well for me in the past. And the reason that I like the back four idea is because Porro is so attacking for Spurs. He's on set pieces. And the way West Ham were defending those set pieces, both Milenkovic and Murillo are so, with Elliot Anderson and Morgan, excuse me, gives right deliveries. Like Milenkovic and Murillo could very easily do well from set pieces. So I'm kind of trying to think about clean sheet odds, and then I'm also thinking about the attacking returns. And I like Ndoye, I like Hudson-Odoi. and I like Gibbs White. I'm definitely having Wood. So in a way, I'm almost I do like I do like this idea of the back four, and I think it just differentiates my team a little bit. I think I'm actually locked in with it, to be honest, guys. I did this last night and I've slept on it, and I usually like to give myself so what I like to do. I like to write down. So I think my defense is locked. So then my decision is, and so are my forwards. So my decisions here are then my mids. So the options are 1 United. So then that's Bruno or Cunha. 2 United. That then picks themselves. So it's Bruno and Cunha. And then I'd probably play Kudus. I think someone was saying that Leeds are without Ampadu, who's their holding mid, and Tanaka. So they're missing 2 pretty good midfielders, but they do have, is it Longstaff, who's the lad they actually signed from Newcastle? A lot of people are liking Otara at the moment, and I think he could be really good. Sunderland did look very good in the first game week at home to West Ham. But again, the question is that just a reflection on how bad West Ham? And Brentford looked much better in the second game week. Folks, I've not done a shout out yet, but thank you all for joining. I know a lot of you are subscribers already, but if anyone's brand new to this stream and you found this helpful, please hit the subscribe button. It really, really helps my channel. And also hit the like button on the stream if you found it helpful. Hopefully you have. It really goes a long way to helping the channel. I appreciate that. Okay, no, I don't like the positions that Bruno's taken up. I'm going back to my original decision. Okay, then it just comes down to the thing with Kudus is there was his goal threat isn't great. Like, he looks good for assists, but his goal threat hasn't been brilliant. And I would like, ideally, something else from an attacker. Dang, it's not pants menu. We're doing 6 minutes for deadline. Any leaks, guys? Anything coming through the grapevine? What are each of them minutes like? '84, '85. So they both starting. Oh, Johnson's got a goal in each. I can make Johnson work. Actually, didn't realise what a great start Johnson has had. Where are you guys? I've lost the stream. Here it is. Ndoye, Mateta, and Bruno or JP cap. That's a tough one. Bruno or JP. I would go JP. I think Bruno, just like, he's playing so deep, and even like the thing that we bought him in for. So the two things that people talk about Bruno, people who bought Bruno in early, defensive contributions, he's not even got, penalties, and he's missed one. So don't get me wrong, I think Bruno could get a 20-pointer, and this could be the game week he does it. But just the ebb of that team, he's playing so deep, and like, I don't know. Yeah. So Savio, I'd go JP, honestly. No worries, Ryan. Welcome to the stream, my friend. Make sure to hit subscribe. I hope it was helpful, and smash that like button. Bournemouth defense is decent. I'd go double United. Fall in all defense. Why not attack? I feel the bounce back again. Yeah, it's a good point. I think the thing is with the attack and defense thing is that as a unit, teams can be, you know, the all-in on attack pieces, you need to punt on there being more than one goal. Now, obviously, there can be one goal and one of your attackers can get the assist and one can get the strike. Defenders across the board can just all get a clean sheet, and that raises the ceiling for them. It's easier for a defensive unit to get a clean sheet than an attacking unit to get goals, and that those goals be spread specifically with the attackers. Does that make sense? So you'd have to kind of punt specifically on said attackers. And Bournemouth defense is decent, yeah. Is Will triple captain power? Yeah, Bull Terrier, that's nice, man. I would save the triple captain personally. I like the look of either Liverpool having Sunderland or Burnley at home, or Haaland, I'd personally. But yeah, if you want to go for a nice punt on wood, that's cool. Is it worth finding to get Kukri after DF? Frank, I'm not quite sure how the rest of your team looks. That's quite a hard question to answer in isolation. I mean, yeah, Juve, like, West Ham defense have not looked great, so I'd say yeah, but that's hard to answer with because Kukri will be a long-term hold, right? So yeah. Great point. I think I'm locked, lads. Yeah, I keep coming back to this. I built this team last night. I was doing some quite late analysis. Slept on it. I'm feeling quite good about it. Feel like my back four is my differentiator. I basically, as I said, consider Pedro Porro an attacker. Johnson over Kudus for the goal threat. Elanga over Barnes because he passes the eye test. Cunha over Bruno because he's going to be starting at number 9, hopefully. And I think he's just looked the better player. And I just, Bruno's playing as a defensive mid. If I want a defensive mid, I'll just sign a defensive mid. Don't know, maybe scoring 29 points last week. Good luck with Bull Terrier. That's ballsy. I like it. Harry, you just got to stick with it, my friend. I love looking at the season as one big problem broken down into weeks of problem. I love just problem solving and strategizing. You have to love it. It's not for everyone, but Harry, if you join my stream and watch my videos each week, I'll hopefully bring you along for the journey. Guys, is everyone's teams locked? We're about to go live. Haaland captain, Joe Pedro, Vice, Dango coming off the bench. Nice one, Harry. Hit subscribe, man, so you can get all the videos. Locked, going Bruno cap is the plan. I'm not watching that game. Yeah, Savio, you said at the start, my friend. Stick to your convictions. Bruno cap. There we go, guys. Locked and loaded, lads. Best of luck. So we got free hit this week. I'm just absolutely blowing my chips left, right, and centre. Fingers crossed for me, guys. I need a big old green arrow going into the international break. Otherwise, this channel might not make it past. Nice Bull Terrier. Best of luck with that. Thanks everyone for joining. And if you found it helpful, please hit that subscribe button to FPL Hawley. Smash the like button on the stream. Really helps the channel. I appreciate you all. Best of luck with Game Week 3. Let me know how you get on. And yeah, I'll be doing a couple of videos as a reaction to Game Week 3. But I won't be doing a deadline stream for Game Week 4 because I'll be away. That'll be fun because I'm wildcarding potentially. But I'm away that weekend. But yeah, see you in the videos and let me know how you get on in the comments. Chat to you soon. Bye, team. Over and out.